What's going on, guys? It's Cimo. Now, I know I normally don't upload videos on Sunday, but today we got the full spoiler for the 2018 Mega Tin, so I wanted to go ahead and discuss that, show you guys what's going to be in the tins, and kind of give my overall just analysis of how I feel about the tins in general. But before I get into that, I want to give a huge shout out to my newest patrons as always. So big shouts today to Kel, Dogboy, and Jose. You guys are the reason that this channel is growing strong. And if you guys want to help support me in the channel through Patreon or through a YouTube channel membership, hit the join button down below or check out the links in the description. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. So big shout out to Silver Cards here for actually having this picture that just has all the cards listed out. That saved me a lot of trouble here. But yeah, so one of the big things that they did with the Mega Tins this year is they actually changed the number of ultra rares and secret rares and maybe super rares as well that are contained in the tins. Before, there was, I believe, 15 secret rares, 15 ultra rares, and the super rares I don't remember, but the super rares aren't really the highlight here. It's mainly the ultras and the secrets are what everyone's after. But now we have 20 ultra rares and 24 secret rares. So what does that mean? Well, the thing is, when it comes to this, I'm not exactly a fan because yeah, there's more secret rares in the tin, so that means there's more cards, but that means they have the potential to bulk up the tins with more secret rares that aren't good, which means that you're going to have a lower chance of getting the really good secret rares, which we're going to be covering right now. So starting off with the secret rares here, I'm just going to go down one by one. So the Mega Tins, for those of you who don't know, are going to contain cards from the previous 4 sets. So it's going to be Code of the Duelist, Circuit Break, Extreme Force, and Maximum Crisis. There's no Flames of Destruction or Cybernetic Horizon in here because those sets are too new and don't fit within the Mega Tins criteria. So those are going to be the secret rares you can be expecting. And so I kind of want to cover these cards in general to see if these picks were good. So starting off, we got Supreme King Zark. Zark isn't something, like, I know it's a very iconic card and a lot of people like it, but it's not like it's a very expensive card, so I don't really think it's that big of a deal that it's in here. I guess it kind of makes sense if people just want to pull it. Ultra Polymerization, I feel like, is a complete waste. That card is just completely worthless. Dragonic Diagram is a very good card. However, it just got a reprint in Battles of Legend Relentless Revenge, so it's kind of odd that it's getting another reprint. I guess it'll, like, for sure keep the price down, but the reprint in Relentless Revenge is already doing so. So, I mean, at this point, it kind of just seems a little bit extraneous, but if anyone wants to play Draco, I think that's a good sign that Draco might not be hit on the ban list coming up. I guess we'll just have to see. Then we have Lumina, Twilight Sworn Shaman. You know, this is something that it's like, it's one of those cards that could get expensive, so I guess that's fine. Rescue Ferret's a card that also could become very relevant at some point, so even though right now it's not like, you know, this extremely like high in demand card, I think it's a good pick kind of like for future proofing, so I'm okay with that. Firewall Dragon's a really big one here. A lot of people weren't sure if Firewall Dragon were going to be in the tins or not, and now we know that it is. But the big question is, will it survive the ban list? Are they going to pull a Zodiac like last year where they print it in the tin and then ban it a few weeks later? I guess time will tell, but at least we know Firewall Dragon will be in the tins. Then we got Topologic Bomber Dragon, very good pick, very strong Link monster. Ningirsu the World Chalice Warrior, again a very, very good solid pick overall. Then we've got Vendread Reorigin. This is just a really weird one. I don't really have high hopes for Vendreads. Yeah, I know they can extra link, but they don't exactly use Reorigin to do that, so I feel like this was a wasted slot in my view. Borlo Dragon is an extremely good reprint. We already knew this one though, so I guess it's not like, you know, surprising, but I'm just happy that it's in here. Then we've got a couple of questionable ones. We've got Squib Draw, Quick Launch, Overdone Burial. These are just cards that have basically never seen play. Overdone Burial to a very minor extent in Goki just because of the synergy with Isolde, but you know, these are cards that really don't have any demand in them. I guess if Rockets ever got like amazing, these are going to be good reprints, but I think these were wasted in my eyes. Evenly Matched is an incredibly good reprint. I'm really happy that a lot of people are going to now have a much easier time time getting their hand on this. Fuse Line is just a complete waste. No one's ever going to play that card. Same thing with Vendread Chimera. Then we have Mech Knight Blue Sky and Mech Knight Purple Nightfall. I am so happy that both of these are in here. These cards were getting really, really expensive, especially with the hype leading up to the tins, because people weren't sure if they were going to be in here, but now we know that they are, so don't buy Mech Knights until the tins come out. They're going to be very, very cheap. Master Cerberus is also a very good pick for Pendulum players. That's a card that was getting rather expensive too. Inspector Border is an amazing card to have. I think that is a very good reprint overall. Saryuja is another one that we knew, but again, Saryuja was an expensive card, so now that it'll be much more accessible is a good thing. Pendulum Paradox, it's one of those cards that it's all right, but it's nothing like... I don't really think it needed to be in here, to be perfectly honest, but I guess it's okay. Hey Trunade, I'm okay with. It's generic, and a lot of people can get some use out of it. And Heavy Metal Foes Electromite is amazing. So, overall, when it comes to the secret rares, I think about like half of them are good, maybe like over half just by a bit, maybe like 13 of the 14. But this goes back to my point. If we only had 15 secret rares and you took those 12 or 13 good secret rares and had that out of the 15 that they originally had, that would be amazing, because that means the chance of you getting a very good secret rare is incredibly high. But because they padded it and made it 24, you know, it's kind of unfortunate. People are going to be getting a lot of squib draws and quick launches. Let's kind of just put it that way. Then we've got the Ultra Rares. The Ultra Rares are not really too exciting. A couple noteworthy ones. Meluseek for the Altergeist players is in here. That was like a pretty expensive card, so I'm pretty happy that's getting reprinted. And then Spellbook of Knowledge. This was a card a lot of people were questioning if it was going to make it. It did, thankfully. That card would have just became just extremely expensive otherwise over time. So it's really good that that card is getting the reprint. But overall, you know, you've got some Draco reprints in here. You've got some Trickstar stuff, some World Chalice. Nothing like too crazy, but the Ultra Rares really haven't been too crazy these past couple of sets. But we're going to talk about that a little bit later, because now I want to discuss the cards that didn't make it into the Megatins, because luckily Silver Cards also had a picture for this as well. And this is where things get really, really interesting. When you start off at the secret rares that didn't make it are Masterpiece, which is fine because Masterpiece is banned, so I don't really think that's an issue. Ash Blossom didn't make it, but Ash Blossom did get the reprint in Shadows in Valhalla. Now, I personally felt that Ash Blossom should have been a promo in the Megatins because it would have made a perfect candidate for that, but that's just my opinion. There's also Duelist Alliance, Unending Nightmare, Tornado Dragon, Gaia Saber. These are all cards that I believe got reprints in the Battles of Legend Relentless Revenge, maybe except for Duelist Alliance. So even though they're not in here, they did get another reprint, so that's going to keep the prices down. Trickstar Reincarnation is a weird one because, again, Diagram got the reprint in Relentless Revenge, and so did Trickstar Reincarnation, but Diagram's in the tin and Reincarnation is not. So is this maybe foreshadowing for Trickstar Reincarnation's fate on the ban list? I don't know, we'll have to see, but I just find it interesting, the dynamic there. So overall, I mean, they could have had a few better secret rares, but I think considering the fact that most of these secret rares already had reprints in Battles of Legend Relentless Revenge, I think it's kind of okay overall. Where I really have gripes with these tins are the ultra rares, because there are a lot of good ultra rares that got exempt from these mega tins. So let's start off with Ignis Heat, the True Draco Warrior, because this is a card that's basically a 3 of in Draco, and the fact that it's not getting a reprint means there's only one copy available, and the price of that card is going to become maybe $5, $6, $7, $8 now because it didn't get a reprint in here. And we saw previously, it's not like they didn't have room to throw it in here. They put Majesty Maiden in, so they obviously could have put Ignis in here as well. I think it's a little bit perplexing that they chose to put like some of the cards from specific archetypes in here compared to others. We've also got like True King's Return kind of in that same category. King difference is it's a 1 of, so it's not a 3 of, but again, it's just a card I really wish they would just put in there because it's so good for the archetype. Couple of of other cards that I really feel confused as to why they just didn't include them. Spiral Double Helix is a very powerful card for anyone looking to play Spiral. It's not that the card's expensive, but why not just pump as many good ultra rares into these tins as possible and have a very spectacular tin? I mean, they're missing cards like Double Helix, Jackal King, Triple Burst Dragon, Clara and Rushka. These are all very competitively viable cards that have seen play, yet none of these ultra rares made the mega tins, but they had room for a plethora of other worthless ultras, again in my opinion, that took the spots of what could have been these cards. And the most notable thing about these mega tins is that Isolde, Two Tails of the Noble Knights is nowhere to be found. That's really scary because Goki is the best deck at the moment. Isolde is going to just become astronomically expensive, assuming it doesn't get hit on the ban list, which it probably will. But this is one of those things where why not just put one of the strongest generic Warrior Link monsters in these tins and let everyone just have at it? I don't understand why they would just pick specific cards that aren't that good compared to, you know, 7 or 8 ultra rares that I just listed that are incredibly powerful, incredibly competitively viable, and helps keep the prices of those cards down to allow the barrier to entry into competitive play to be a lot cheaper. It's a little bit perplexing from my standpoint, but you know, they must have done it for some reason, right? Ultimately, I think the tins are pretty good. I'm not really a fan of some of the decisions that they made, like fluffing up the number of secret rares just to make the ratios worse for pulling the better secrets. And I'm also not a fan of that they didn't put some of the best ultra rares in the set in these tins either, but I think compared to some of the tins we've had before, these are actually pretty good. There's some really strong in-demand reprint in here, like Evenly Matched, like Borolo Dragon. Basically, a ton of the Link monsters in here are highly in demand, and I think that's a really good thing for the game. But guys, those are just my thoughts. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think about these mega tins and what's in them. Are you happy with what you see? Do you wish there was other cards? Be sure to let me know. So guys, thank you so much for watching the video. Be sure to like the video as always. Subscribe to the channel for more amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content. And if you found this video informative, consider backing me on Patreon or becoming a YouTube channel member, because just by showing your support for the channel, you're investing in my ability to continue bringing you amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content. So thanks so much again, and we'll see you next time.